All right, you ready? All right, welcome to Bridge Talk. My name is Matt Dorgan. I'm the founder and president of Building Bridges for Brianna. And we're here at Freelance York to have open conversations about mental health. We need to help the community know that it's okay not to be okay. We just can't stay that way. And we need to continue to break the stigma around mental health. So today we have Desiree from NAMI.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how mental health impacts you and why you're so dedicated towards, helping people with mental health issues?
Well, I'm the executive director for NAMI of York and Adams counties, and I came to NAMI in 2020. And when I came to NAMI, I had already had some life experiences with about a year to 2 years under my belt of having therapy. Right. And it was because of those life experiences, and when the time that they happened, I didn't know that it was affecting my mental health. As I was going through some of the symptoms that everybody goes through with anxiety and depression, I was blaming it on everything else. Right. And whether it was work, the stress of work, or not sleeping well, or not eating. And it wasn't until I started that therapy that I realized it was my mental health. And I was diagnosed with having anxiety and depression. And prior to that, in my engineering line of work that I was doing before I switched over to nonprofit, I had a very traumatic experience, and that's where I ended up having PTSD. Right. So loud noises, those kinds of things would freak me out. And when I came to NAMI, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know this organization existed, let alone all of these wonderful programs that were available to the community free of charge. And
exactly.
That's why it's so important and why I have the passion, because I have a daughter who suffers from anxiety. I myself, there's many, many other people, the statistics, we talk about it all the time. Mm-hmm. 1 in 5, and since the pandemic, it's now 1 in 4.
Right.
And so that's my passion. I just want to help those that they can find support like I've been able to get, not only from my therapist, but from NAMI as well. And the education classes that I've taken, they've given me so much knowledge that I just want to share it with everybody.
Absolutely. And I know, NAMI was one of the first organizations right after Brianna's passing, that me and you kind of made that connection right away. Like we were just formed Building Bridges for Brianna, and we just started talking, and I started learning about NAMI. I mean, granted, with Brianna, it was 3 years, before her passing that we were struggling with her, and I was struggling finding out what resources out there. And I'll be honest, I didn't even know NAMI and what it was and what resources were available. Yeah. And once we formed Building Bridges, I said, we need to get that message out. We need to focus on those resources and build that bridge between the people that need help, the people that can give help. And you're one of the organizations that can give the help and give the resources. And that's why we have that strong partnership that we try to work together on it.
Yeah.
But why don't you tell us a little bit about NAMI and just what all is there?
So we are the largest grassroots organization around the country, working from a national level with our national office called NAMI.org, where they have those connections both nationally, federally, to get advocacy, change in policies, and large donations that come into them to help make these programs that we're able to offer at the affiliate level, because we serve York and Adams counties. And so we've got many, many different programs, from our Family to Family, which is a series of 8 2.5-hour classes that help family members who have a loved one with a mental illness to be able to communicate, have a preparedness plan in case something, God forbid, happens. We also have our connection support groups, and those are for individuals and family members who can come in and just talk with other individuals and family members that are dealing with many of the same things that they're dealing with. And all of our services and programs are peer-led. So,
which I think is great.
yeah, and when we started talking with our conversation, you inspired me because I was hearing from the community, I was hearing from other parents like you, that there wasn't services available for youth or there was a long waiting list. And so that's when we started to create our PAWS program that we now are offering to the community as well.
Right, which I think is a great program. I know I was right there from the beginning when you guys started that, trying to help push it. And I think it's a great topic and great program for those schools, and I know you guys are getting in a lot more. And I know in a future episode we're going to be having, Ken on there to talk a little bit about the PAWS program. So I think that's going to be great.
Yeah, it was a community effort to get that started, recognizing and hearing what the needs were in the community. And it's just like all of our other programs that we offer. NAMI is there to give that support, that advocacy. And as you mentioned, as we opened our conversation, to help stop the stigma of mental health so that others do not need to live in silence anymore.
Exactly, because we was talking to Jamie earlier, and she thinks that the stigma is getting broken. The wall's coming down. People are talking about it. They're openly communicating. They're reaching out. They're not ashamed, of it. How do you feel that's going?
I think Jamie hit the mark right on the head with that. The pandemic really opened up all of us feeling and not knowing what was going to happen. So we all had a little anxiety, a little depression, because we were out of our normal, everyday things that we would typically be doing. So the pandemic has really opened that up, and I think a lot of people are able to understand the empathy now and maybe what it's like to have just a small portion of what our mental health could and how it can be affected very easily.
Absolutely, and it can very easily be affected. It could take one small thing, then people try to hide it and say, "Oh, I don't need to deal with it. Oh, not me." I know you heard me tell my stories about being a police officer, being 23 years old, thinking I'm big, bad, and tough. I had no idea what was about to hit me in my first couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I hid it for a while. I knew something was wrong. I knew that I needed to talk, but I was like, police officer, 23, it's not going to affect me. It wasn't until later when I lost, one of my best friends that was also a police officer to suicide that I was like, whoa. I guess it can affect us. Maybe now it's time to start talking and opening up.
Yeah, it's a shame. We all try and be a little tougher or like I said, blame it on everything else but our mental health. And, we have to recognize that self-care, our brains can become injured, damaged, just like our hearts or
Absolutely.
our lungs, and we wouldn't wait to go to a doctor to get those things fixed. So we have to train ourselves not to wait when we're not feeling like we want to be. It's time to go and start talking and having the conversation. It's difficult, and I know it is very, very difficult, but once you open up and once you start finding that support, there's a lot of love out there in our community and a lot of people that are ready to embrace you and help you through.
Exactly. Like you said, that the brain's one of the biggest organs.
That's right.
We need to take care of that. If that's not right, we need to fix it. We need to go see a doctor, get it, talk to somebody, open up, get all those thoughts, flowing. And I know you heard me at CIT trainings, talking to the officers that if you're not 100%, you need to take a day. You need to go home at night. And if your mind's not 100% there and your mind's not working properly, that could be a risk of you getting injured on the job. And, I know a lot of those have came up to me afterwards and said, I've never really thought of it that way. There's been times I've gone to work not feeling 100% and had an accident or made a stupid call going into a house that I, clearing a room. They all need to kind of get that together.
Oh yeah, and NAMI is one of those core partners for the crisis intervention team training with police officers and first responders. And we've been doing that for probably 10, 12 years now. And throughout the county, we have over 600 officers that have been trained. It's a remarkable number, but we still have a lot of officers to go. But you're right, you know, they're the first ones on the scene and they're responding. And a lot of times, like you and I have chatted before, if somebody's taking some medication, it could be looking like to an officer coming in and within 30 seconds to try and assess, are they on drugs? What's going on? And so these trainings that we're providing to the officers are really giving them some knowledge to be able to make that assessment if it is a mental health, to be able to get them the help that they need so they're not just being taken to prison or to the hospital. Right. Yeah, and we're very excited. We started an initiative back in 2021, I don't know why I keep saying 19, but in 2021, with all of the core partners with CIT, and we started purchasing CIT wristbands, and some of them are laying here.
I think they're phenomenal. Like the whole premise behind them and what they're to do. Yeah. Is amazing. Yeah, and it's, you know, I wear mine proudly, right? And I hope others who are living with a mental health condition will either stop by the NAMI office, give us a call. If you want many of them, we are here to give those out. We purchased 10,000 of them. Right. And we have more than 8,000 of them out there in our community right now. Well, why don't you tell us a little bit, you know, about them? They're not support bands. No, they're not support bands. Like more of the other bands that are out there, you know, I definitely want to make sure we know that, or the viewers know that it's not a support. Yes. Yeah. So these bands are intended for the person who is living with a mental health condition to have this band on. It is a way for the officer, if 911 is called and the officer comes out to respond, that they may be able to see that bracelet on that person and say, I have somebody with mental health in front of me and I need to kick in my CIT training and work through that with them and de-escalate the situation and really just talk to them. It's also a way for the officer to build a relationship with them very quickly because the officers are going to have their bracelet on too. And if you've ever been in a manic situation, there's a lot going on and there's a lot that you're seeing. And this is just one way for, okay, wait, I have somebody here who can help me. And they understand what I'm going through without me even saying a word. Yeah. I can just be like, here's my band. You got a band? Okay, now I can breathe. Yeah, yeah. You know, and I know we've talked to officers at CIT that have already gone through it, and I've talked to them as, you know, run into them at the store or whatever, and I can see that they're CIT, and we talk about them. And they said it has worked over and over and over again. Yeah. You know, and I think that is something that if Brianna had them available at the time, it would have helped her. I mean, there was a couple interactions with officers that they just thought she was being unruly and all that. They didn't understand that she was going through a little episode. She was having a flashback and she just needed to escape at that point where, and I know she would have wore it proudly. Yeah. You know, she did not hide from anything that was going through in her mind or her struggles. Like she was an open book. She was telling, she could meet you for the first time, and if you ask her a question, she'll tell you everything. You know, which I think is great because it helped her. Yeah. You know, it just. And you know, I wish I would have met Bri. I really do. She sounds like an amazing young woman, and you know, I think through what you're doing with building bridges,
partnerships that are happening, like you and me sitting here, and you're helping us to share about NAMI to help others in the community. That's what it's all about. And that's what these bracelets, are doing as well. We're getting them out into schools. We're getting them out into churches. The police officers are wearing them. It's a community effort for all of us to help and make sure that nobody's sitting there in silence. And
Absolutely.
One of the things that NAMI likes to say is you're not alone. When you feel you're alone, you're just going to sink deeper. You're not alone. We're here. We're going to wrap our arms around you and help you in whatever way we can.
Absolutely. And like you said, the bands are going out. I mean, everybody's getting them. I mean, I just sent several hundred down to the Key West Police Department. They reached out to us and asked for some. So it's not just in this surrounding area. It's pretty much if anybody wants them, we can get them out, and they can reach out, on your Facebook, email you, you guys. I mean, do you have your email on your website?
We sure do. Okay. Absolutely.
So you can contact, NAMI, York and Adams to get the bands. They can contact Building Bridges by going to, BB4BPA.org. You can hit the contact form, and you can reach out to us, and we can get some bands out to you if you want them as well. I think we're trying to get as much out as we can on them, because we're finding them in 2 years. They're working. They are working, and we're also having our CIT officers, when they are going to a scene or responding to a call, they're also noting in their reports if this person had a CIT wristband on and how many they're giving out as they're talking with the communities. But I think you're right. This is working for all of these reasons, but as other counties know that York has started this, they're reaching out to us because they want to know how it's going. They want to do something like this in their community. And I'm glad that we can partner with you to be able to get additional bracelets, because I know they're going to be needed. And I know that people are going to be wearing them, and it's going to be saving lives and making a difference. Absolutely. Like I say all the time, if we can save one person, once we save that one person, we move on to that next one. Not one more. We don't want to lose anyone else. Exactly. So Desiree, I appreciate you coming on today. Thanks. I'm sure as we do future episodes, you'll be on, because I know we've talked about some other topics that we want to cover and kind of get out there. And I think the partnership that Building Bridges for Brianna has with NAMI, York and Adams is just, one of the biggest ones that, that we have, that we work on a lot of different things together, to kind of get that awareness out there. So once again, I appreciate you coming on today. Thank you. And I appreciate you for watching. This is going to be an ongoing series, Bridge Talk, where we're just talking about mental health. And if there's something that you would like us to discuss, please reach out. You can contact us on our webpage, in the contact section. Or if you want to be on and just openly talk about mental health and share your story or what's going on with you or your family members, we would be more than willing to have you come on and just openly talk about mental health. So just remember, keep fighting. I believe in you, and you're a star. Thank you.